Thank you all for coming, first and foremost. I appreciate it's the off-season and you guys are giving up all your time to be here. So on behalf of Football West and the FFA, thank you all for coming. Obviously we're testing out the new registration system tonight, and we've got Tom Fowl who will be doing the presentation and we'll take you through. So, Tom, thank you.
Thank you very much. So tonight we're going to go through the registration system. See a lot of familiar faces from the roadshow about a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, which is good. And now we're finally kind of giving you the keys to the system. As I said at the showcase, I don't want to take too much of your time. The good thing is I can give you this training environment. So after you feel like you've learned enough from me, if it only takes an hour, hour and a half, feel free to take that home. You can just play around with it a little bit more. So you get comfortable, so when we're going through the actual setup of the product a little bit later on, yeah, you'll be nice and comfortable. So really appreciate you guys coming out, particularly Tuesday night. Obviously we know this is such a volunteer-run game, so really appreciate your time. What we're going to quickly go through tonight, a lot of that first bit is pretty much what we went through in the roadshow, so I'm going to gloss through it quite quickly, because mostly everyone was here, or you might have seen it online, so that'll only go for kind of 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're really going to get stuck into the registration system. So I had the link to the website and a password to a test club on the screen before. We'll go through, and I'll put it back up again a little bit later on as we walk through the system. The game will take anywhere from kind of 50 minutes to an hour and a half. It really depends on how deep we want to get into the system. So obviously we've got a little bit of a lead time before the season actually the registration season kind of kicks off and starts. So it's really good that Football West has taken the initiative to get you involved before it actually kind of kicks off, so you can start to feel very comfortable with the system. So when it is live, you can start setting up your products and you'll know exactly what to do. So we'll go quickly through how we got here. Again, I'll go through that pretty quickly, and also the football account. Then I'll just be kind of going through some of the key dates. Now, some of the key dates have actually changed in the last couple of days, so I'll update those as we go along and how we're going to support it. But the main thing tonight will be that system walkthrough and the opportunity for you guys to ask any questions as we go. So I've given the access to the training environment. That's just a generic access. It's all to the one club. What we will provide in the next week is actual training access to all of your individual clubs, so you'll actually be able to go in and use data that you're familiar with as you start to get more comfortable with the system. Feel free to, there will be Q&A at the end, but again, as it's going to be a little bit more of an interactive session as we go along, feel free to stick your hand up as we go through. So I've talked to you guys before. I'm Tom from FFA, been there for about 6 years now. I rolled out my football club about 5 or 6 years ago as well. So I know these systems pretty well by now. And as we go through this next kind of phase of launching all the new systems, I'll be with you as we go. So quickly again, how we got here, created that new digital team. That all started end of December 2016. Really starting to try and understand what you guys want, not taking that kind of FFA approach of here's the system, use it. More let's understand exactly what the community needs and start building those systems so we can actually improve your experience and reduce administration time. Obviously, this is a much different change to what we had previously, where we were going from kind of paper to digital. This is digital to digital. You guys have all kind of used these systems before. You know what you kind of be looking for in the system, so it should be a much kind of smoother transition. But again, different systems work in different ways, so we want to make sure that we're helping you along that path. So we did that requirements capture, 4,000 different requirements, synthesized them into about 350 for each system. So tonight we're focusing purely on the registration system. You will see a little bit of an element of the comp management kind of in the teams part, but I'll probably let you just go away and have a look at that one by yourself. But we've taken requirements on the comp system, and you'll find out more about that in due course. QMS, which is the accreditation system, mini-risk kickoff, all these kind of systems. But again, focusing on registrations tonight. So again, we've got a new partner, Interact. It was a kind of really extensive process, 16 vendors, gathering all this information. got that down to 4 vendors and then ended up picking Interact, who were great, building on a mobile-first approach. Tonight, if you've only got your iPad, it works great on that as well, so feel free to use that. If you want to use your phone, screens are getting bigger these days, so you might be able to do it all on your phone as well. But they're building on a mobile-first approach, which is really important for us, so we can actually move with times, because everyone knows that my football club definitely was not on a mobile-first approach. They've got quite good pedigree in sports space. Anyone who's registered before with netball or rugby or cricket, they also provide our registration system now as well. So that was really important to us. Obviously, we're the biggest sport in the country, but it's important they had some kind of big ones there as well. But you'll see all the added benefits as well of Interact as we go through. So tonight will be about that kind of first phase, giving you the new system, getting you to kind of understand it. It is a new system. There will be some kind of teething issues as we go along. So it's important to shout out and ask how we do this. But the main thing will be about reducing the administration time going forward. So in the first year, as you would have heard at the roadshow, some of those big benefits about reduced annual setup and registration inheritance, which we'll go through tonight as well. Yeah, I'll put it up later on. We'll all go through the walkthrough together. Basically, what we want is kind of that continued community feedback as we go through this first season. What worked, what didn't work, how we can improve, how we can make this kind of life easy, keep on going and keep on improving, so it doesn't stagnate like my football club inevitably did. We'll go quickly through the training and rollout, although obviously we're right in the middle of club training now. We're going to be supporting you guys a little bit further this year, make sure we've got those extended hours. We're also looking to have something more specific to Western Australia as well. Obviously that's been a bit of a challenge in the past. We've been kind of running on that Eastern time where everything's closed by 6 PM. You guys are doing stuff outside of that time, particularly as you're volunteer based and doing it after work. So we wanted to look at that space and make sure we're supporting you guys in the right way as well. So we've got that support centre, lots of people coming back from previous seasons, so they know what actually happens for a club registrar, what they kind of need to sit through and talk through on the phone. But we'll also have all those kind of videos, PDFs and guides ready for you to go as well just before the season kicks off. Just so you can start to, as you kind of build your packages, sit there with the PDF, just watch a video just specifically on maybe how to add a custom field or something like that. So that support portal resource will go live fairly soon. So if you don't want to call us up and have us help you walk through it, you just want to quickly check something, it'll all be there for you to go as well. We will have some other webinars as well, so if anyone else at your club has missed it and would like to jump online and watch either this session or another session, or just specifically maybe how to allocate things to teams, we'll have those up there as well. So some of those big key registration benefits we'll be going through tonight. This idea of this reduced annual setups, this is probably the biggest thing. In year one, if we get these products right, it's just going to make your lives easier for every year after that, because you won't need to change anything. All you need to do is change the price. So a little bit of extra work in this first year to make sure you've got all your products set up in the right way. If you want to do it by age group or groups of age brackets, everything like that. Those products will be there for you when you start to register for 2020 as well. So a little bit in that first year, but again, we've found ways to reduce that admin time with this kind of idea of registration inheritance. Now you'll just be picking the product above, so instead of going through and trying to find the right association fee or member federation fee and the right FFA fee, you just need to find the one level above, and it'll automatically link through. And so this is just a little bit of work that extra work Football West will have to do and will have to do to make sure it's easier for you guys to start building your products. You'll also be able to create other products much easier, like jerseys or socks, and people won't actually have to make a registration to purchase those. So if someone's actually gone through the process, registered, and wants to buy the jersey 5 weeks later, they're able to do that without having to go in and delete their registration or anything like that. So just some things that are going to make it quite a bit easier for you there. I'll also show you tonight discounting, again something that happens at a lot of different clubs. There's a couple of different discounts we'll be actually able to create, and a couple of them will also be have the smarts in the system so that people can automatically pick them up, rather than having to actually for you guys to go in and check things like the second child discount or the coaching discount. This kind of leads to that identity and participant linked accounts that we've talked about previously, that idea that now a parent will be able to link their children underneath them so that there's just one profile and they're just flicking in between their children or people that they need to register, just so they don't have to remember all those different FFA numbers, different scraps of papers and things like that. Once you have your account, you'll have it for the indefinite future, and you won't have to keep finding all those things and making it a poor experience. Obviously, the system's a little bit easy to get around. There is actually more functionality in there, but we're finding it's actually a little bit easier to get through what you want. And obviously with the competition management coming into it as well, you'll be able to just flick between those two systems quite easily. You won't need to remember an STG login and a monthly club login. You'll just have the one login. You'll be able to do that quite easily. Again, built on up-to-date technology as well. Participants are also going to be seeing these benefits. It's going to look a lot newer, a lot fresher to them. As I mentioned before, that kind of linking. They're not going to have to remember 6 or 7 different FFA numbers. They're just going to be able to remember the one login and be able to get those discounting and things that you're providing to them as well. It'll be easier for you guys to capture more information about them or more specific information from the individuals as well. And it won't be it'll be a very good experience on the mobile as well, rather than Michael Club, which was quite clunky before. Okay, so some of these key dates have actually changed a little bit, so forgive me for this, I'll put them up a little bit later on. So obviously we're doing club registration now. The admin system open will actually be a little bit later this month. With MPL going a little bit further, a little bit closer to, so let me rephrase that. MPL will open first, and then club administration will open after that. Those dates are looking like the 15th of November. The participant registration open for MPL at this stage is the 1st of December, and for the rest of the grassroots is the 1st of January. So I'll update this. I will also send out this slide deck to everyone as well, so don't feel like you need to take too many notes tonight. It'll be more about getting you inside the system and then having a play around. So I mentioned a little bit of support before. Obviously we're going to have that resources hub if you need to jump on there, if you want to search for anything, videos, PDF documents, if you prefer to read through a document. We'll also have things like templates as well, so probably importantly for clubs, something that you can brand yourself and just change a couple of things to send out to your participants, so that's kind of an easy registration experience for them. And we're going to continue to have some more webinars and things like that if people would like to jump on that as well. I mentioned the Sports Centre before, just want to make sure I reiterate that we are going to make sure we've got someone on a little bit better times for people, particularly in this area, because again, it hasn't been traditionally. So we mentioned the football account previously. What it is now, it's that front door to football. You might have already created one if you've got the MyFootball Live app to watch A-League or W-League or Matildas or anything like that. What it is just a way to verify a user. Users can enter their name, date of birth to start linking those accounts. And again, that claims process will probably happen from mid-November going forward. And it just means that they won't need to remember their FFA numbers to log in. Fundamentally, the FFA number is still there, so if you need them for ID cards or historical reporting or anything like that, the FFA number will still be there. They just don't use it to actually log in. It will now be done via an email address, and then anyone that they'll need to link in underneath, they'll be able to do. Just means that it'll start to create things like less duplicates for everyone. I know that's a bit of a hassle at Clubland currently, and we can start to provide more kind of personalised service to participants. So what changes in that process? Again, just fundamentally not logging in with their FFA number. They can also use their social accounts to log in, Facebook, Google, down the track we might have Twitter as well. Just means it's an easier process for people to log in, one less thing to actually remember, because again, except for everyone in this room, all participants don't know their FFA number anyway. So we're all quite familiar with that screen. That was the previous participant login to my football club. This is what it's going to look like now. So obviously it looks a little bit fresher. a little bit better. You can see they'll be able to sign in with those social accounts there, email address, something that's very familiar to them. It'll just give them less chance, I guess, of getting things a little bit more incorrect. This is what the actual participant portal looks like. So once they log in, immediately be able to see their picture, they'll be able to see their name, FFA number, where they're at, and also any current and outstanding purchases. In that top right-hand corner, just next to where that club name is, you'll be able to see their name as well. That's where they'll just click and change between participants. So if they need to quickly change between them to their child, once they register that child, change to another one, they'll be able to do it quite simply and easily there. And again, they've got kind of some of their easy things to do, like check their details, who they're affiliated to, all those kind of things. So nice and easy, simple, and yeah, again, it looks a lot fresher. So got that one out in 10 minutes, and let's get through to the exciting stuff. I'll just quickly go through some terminology changes and then how it's actually going to look before we go back and actually set it up, because I think it's important to kind of understand what you're actually building towards.
Yeah, just going back to that, I've got a page how you're going to be using email addresses and that. Our football club's out where we've got a demographic that don't have email addresses. And what do we do there?
So similar to what you probably do now, I'm guessing you registering by self-reg and using a club email address.
Yeah.
You're probably going to, it's the same. So that's
yeah, but then won't that, if we use like our own email addresses or whatever, which is what our club ones are, won't that put them under us? Like you're saying, all my children will be under me. Won't I register other people?
Yeah, it's probably worth creating a club email address to do that. I mean, if they're playing at your club, that's the way to get them into the system. It's the way that you're doing it now. That hasn't changed. We haven't fundamentally solved that issue. When looking at the data, there is a lot of participants now who do share a club email address. We need to work out whether they are regional participants or if clubs were getting lazy in metro areas for people who do have email addresses. We haven't solved that. You can still basically do it exactly the way you would. You just link them all under one account now. So the way that I get around that is to create that club email address and link them all under there. Again, we don't want to be promoting that to metro clubs to do that for all yours. It really is for people who don't have their own email address. 20% at your club? Well, quite a few. So we've got a couple of terminology changes, and the reason for that is kind of twofold. One, the Interact system uses in this way, and two, it starts to kind of create a little bit more benefits to football as well. So where previously it was this idea of registration, person would sign in and then register to their club. We're actually calling it a sign up now, and the reason we're doing that is because the person will now sign up to the club, and you as club administrators, once you accept their registration, you're the ones actually doing the registering for football. So it just means it gives a little bit more clarity so that when someone actually does go through the process, instead of them saying they're registered and they think they're done and they think they're ready to take part, they'll actually say their registration is submitted or their sign up is submitted now, and only once you actually approve them to your club will they then be registered. So a little bit of a terminology change there. Traditionally, it was this kind of idea of building a package, and within that there were things like football type, role, age, playing levels. We're now calling this registration type because of the way that we can then get some more added benefits. So we can start to build out things which will be particularly beneficial, like registration periods and registration dates. So the way that would look, the registration period would be a time period which governs registration. So it would often be a calendar year. So the 2019 outdoor season would be 1st of January all the way to the 31st of December. But then we can have a registration date. So if you'd actually like, or Football West says, we want our NPL to register from the 1st of October, we'll actually be able to do that now because it won't be, it'll still be in line with the FFA registration regulations and with FIFA regulations as well. So what they'll be able to do is say the registration date for NPL for 2019 per se would be October 1 through till the 1st of March, and that would be your registration date, but they will actually be registered from the 1st of January through till the end of December. So it just means that people who do want to get a little bit of a head start on their registrations, or they want to start to build up sign-up forms for things like trials and all those kind of things, can still do that, where they couldn't in My Football Club. We've also kind of changed the idea of package to product. Where traditionally you were building a package because you have to pick one from this, one from this, one from that to build your package, we're now calling it a product. And the reason we're calling that a product is because people are actually going to be able to purchase that from your club and register to your club with that, but they can also buy socks and jerseys and all these other kind of different things that you guys haven't been able to really do particularly well in My Football Club. You're now able to do that inside My Football Club. And if it is a registration product per se, you'll just be linking it to the Football West fee, which applies to you, or the association fee. You're not actually building a package anymore. So that kind of sign-up process and sign-up form we'll go through a little bit tonight as well. Again, you'll have the training environment, so you'll be able to go in there and build things in there. It's not something that was in My Football Club, this idea of the sign-up form. If you want to build things like expression of interest forms, so once they've finished the season, you can then send them a link to register their interest for next year, so you can start to, in your off-season, start to gather an idea of how many people you're going to have next year, who's going to come to trial games, who's going to come to the community barbecue at the end of the year. You can start to do that through the system. It won't have to be outside the system. This is with the end goal of eventually we'll be able to do everything in the system. You'll be able to use, instead of having to use all different team apps, you'll be able to do all that kind of thing in the system once we've added in comp management as well. So we just want to make sure we're bringing everything together and making it easier to be able to do as much things within the process. I don't know if that's particularly hard to look back from there. What I might do is pop the so those are the login details. If everyone wants to jump in now, we'll start kind of the live walkthrough, if you will. Has anyone had any problems logging in so far? So as you're doing that, what we're going to go through tonight is just quickly the organisation tab, how to input all your organisation details. We're also going to look at the user list. So the user list is this kind of new way that you're actually going to be able to manage other people having access to the club within the system without having to go through Football West and ask them for access, and also how to create designated contacts. That's kind of key for communication from Football West. Just means you can put in there, this is our designated contact for the year, and anything that comes down from Football West will go straight to that person. Then we'll jump into people, how you can start searching for people within your organisation, how you can edit people's contact details, custom field management, which is that one around creating additional questions. Again, it's much easier and much better to be able to target people within the system now. And also the email and how you can start to distribute communication through the system. And then we'll get into the registration, so the dashboard, looking at invoices, and then actually how to create a product, a sign-up form, discount and disclaimers. And that'll probably do us for the session. You'll still have access to that training environment, so you'll be able to go home, feel your way through the rest of the system as well. And we'll have some more webinars about a little bit more stuff going on later on. So I'll just pop this on the main screen as well. Is anyone still need that up there? First part will be on just the home screen. So you can either play along at home as I'm going through. If you'd like, you can just jump a little bit ahead and feel your way through. I'm sure some people have already done that already, but I'll just be going through it on the main screen and talking through what I'm exactly doing. So I might let you guys. Okay, so this will, so we've picked Joondalup City Football Club. Anyone from Joondalup City here tonight? Sorry for using your club as an example. Don't worry, it's all dummy data, so they can't do anything, they can't change anything. It'll all get wiped anyway. So as you can see here, start to see participant metrics as you jump in straight away. Start to break down your kind of roles, your gender and age ranges. We can actually start to build more specific things. So if your age ranges you'd like to build maybe more in line with Football West's reporting, 4 to 11, that kind of mini category or things like that, we can start to build out and make it kind of more useful for you guys as well. But I think quite beneficial as you log in, you'll be able to see how many people you're a club, how many new people straight away, how many registered and how many pending registrations as well. Just because those are the kind of things that you actually need to do in that kind of key registration season. So it's quite good to have that in front of you as you go. On the right hand side you'll see quick links. So this is actually built based on what everyone's kind of looking at once. So it'll pick up what the main things people are actually doing at certain times of the year and adjust those based how often people are clicking those things. So most of the time you'll see things like the person search or the registration detail report, things like that. If you get into the kind of crunch time where it's kind of just registering all people just before the start of the season, those are the kind of links that will come up as you go along. So the top right corner you'll be able to see who's actually logged in and then your menu bar is kind of your key part there. So if we wanted to click organisation, firstly, you'll be able to see you can search people. If you want to search by their name or their FFA number, you'll be able to do that there as well. And again, some of your quick links and offer reports. When you first log in for the first time, this is what I'd encourage everyone to do, which is to go and look and just make sure that your organisation data is all correct there. Obviously, we're going to be migrating all the data and we're doing spot checks now to make sure that's all clean. But as soon as you log in, that's probably the first thing you want to do. Make sure all your data's in there as you go. So obviously check the organisation names right. You can put in your website URL, that'll display on the club finder. So make sure that's correct. You can also put a bit of a description there if you'd like, just to kind of outline maybe what your club's about, any trial dates, things like that. Also be able to put in what colours your club are predominantly. No one will see that it's at kind of the level above. It's just a way to capture that. It'll also be housed in the competition management part as well. And then some of your kind of key information there, your incorporation status, GST, ABN. So just importantly, that ABN, that's not going towards the bank details, that's purely kind of just a record keep for you to be able to see, just to be able to have it there. There is another part that you need to do for your bank details there. The accreditation level will be locked off, but you'll be able to add in your year established. There's the opportunity there to put in your social media links as well, link to your Facebook page and your Twitter. We're also looking at putting Instagram in there as well for people who'd like to put in that handle as well. Contact name, again, this is all quite straightforward, but this is the actual contact for the club. So this won't be potentially the club's phone number, but it's for someone who actually needs to get in contact with the club. So it might be your key registrar, maybe don't put the president's name down there, he or she might not answer their phone. And then you can start to put in any other contact details, but then you get down to kind of the key information there, where your club is, exactly on the map. We're just taking the map offline just for the moment, cleaning that one out as well, but start to put in your longitude and latitude, and that can be, that is probably where the club room is. Obviously, some clubs have a lot more grounds than just one, so we encourage you to put your club room there rather than just one of the grounds. And that will show up on the club commander, which will be there. We'll take that offline for the moment. This is the part that will also appear on the club finder. Your activity type, what genders you cater to, what age groups you cater to. Obviously, we've got some senior clubs only, some junior clubs only. Might be only a female club. So make sure you keep that data up to date. That's not coming across from the last system. That'll be there if you have to put in again. We're finding a lot of that data hasn't been updated, so it is quite old. So we're not going to bring it across. Encourage everyone to put it in the first time as they go along. Obviously, then you've got all your formats, what you cater to, and when you're traditionally playing games as well. Again, as this evolves, this will be similar to what it is in the first year, but as it evolves, things that you might need to add in there, please let us know. If you want to have something like training days or average cost of a participant, things like that, we'll be able to put that in the system as well. Also, I really encourage everyone to put your logo on. It does start to make it feel more like it's your system rather than just a FFA system. Also, when they're looking for people looking for clubs in the system, they'll see the logo there as well. Also, it comes across to club management, so really encourage you to upload your logo there as well. Any questions on that kind of org detail section? Again, this is a training environment. There's actually going to be more stuff that's added in just before we go live. So I'll go into the user list now. So here's that kind of new feature which we haven't had before, where you're actually able to manage other people who will have access to this admin section at your club. So what you'll be doing in the first instance, applying to Football West to get your actual access, and we're trying to encourage just one person to have that system administrator access to your club. Obviously, various clubs, a lot of clubs have maybe 2 or 3 registrars. You can apply for that access as well, but you can also just add it through the systems here. Again, as previously, we encourage just one login per one person. The reason for that is if something does happen untoward within the system, we can start to audit who it actually was. So if someone got accepted or deregistered, we want to know who actually did it so that you guys are protected at the end of the day. So try and make sure it's one log-on per person. You can add more people on. As the system admins, you can also delete their access as well. So we just want to make sure that, again, just reiterating, one person per one login. So you'll be able to add the user here. We're encouraging also the login ID to be the email address. So this is how I created that login for you guys there today. Added the login details of that email address. The username was that. The email address so that they can get a welcome email. Again, this is not turned on for you guys. If you're trying to create them now, it's not going to work. The mobile number, but then most importantly here is the user roles. So we'll provide a full list of details of what exactly those user roles are, but system admin kind of gives you access to basically everything. So if you want to restrict that down, please don't click that. Got things like content manager, user manager. If you have a key communications person in the club, you want them to be on the button for the notification subscribers list and sending out emails or text messages. Give them the email sender access. Financial manager will only get access to kind of the reporting, the financial part of it, and more probably for the comp section, the results manager as well. You can actually start to drill down a little bit more on some of these if you want to give coaching access, so they just have access to their specific teams as well. You'll be able to do that inside the system. So once you save that, it'll send them a welcome email, and they'll be able to get access to the system from there. You'll be able to also delete users as well. Probably a good thing to do once you've actually finished your season, go back and look at all the people who have access and start deleting their access there as well. You can see who you've deleted on the part there. So this is where you can just quickly edit. If you want to restrict someone's access that had kind of registrar access, reduce them right down, just click inside and you can edit their access there as you go. If they've forgotten their password or you need to send them an email again, you're able to do it there. That's basically that kind of new feature that we've added. So this is the first time we've had this. So we'll be interested to get your feedback as you're going through the process, how this goes and how many kind of people you end up giving access to the system as well. Probably once the comp system goes live, you'll probably give more and more people access, so it will become a little bit more of a easier on you guys administratively, because you'll be able to let other people do a lot more of the work. They won't need to borrow your login, but maybe a little bit more on just making sure the right people have the right access. I'm not going to go through office bearers. I'll just quickly glance over it. You're actually able to create all the people who have roles at your club, just so you can kind of keep that list of who's the treasurer, president, yada, yada, yada. On a board, similar, MVP, top goal scorer. You can keep that all in the system if you'd like as well. And this is the key part of that designated contact I was talking about. So on your first login, I encourage you to put the details of who Football West is going to contact at your club. They will already have a whole list of that as well. It's just important to put it in here as well, so it can be constantly updated nice and easy, so that Football West aren't sending out emails to people who are no longer this designated person at the club. So that's the kind of first initial things. Once you get access, you're going to have to quickly go through and set up. Was there any questions about that? Anything you think we're glaringly missing there? No?
Can you change the date format? Because you've got the American date on the doors.
Yeah, that's been raised. Yeah. Okay, so we'll jump into people. So obviously, as you're managing your club, you need to quickly look through and glance through, find people, find their information. So you've got the search functionality here. You can either search by FFA number or just by their name. Obviously, with the reduction in the use of the FFA number, probably more lends itself to the name there as well. And you can also have some extra filtering as well, in case you've got a lot of Toms at the club, or you try to find a specific age or things like that. Search is quite good as well. A bit of a fuzzy search there. Also start to look at the person list, so that just basically gives you that whole list of everyone there at your club, but you'd probably rather go into the contact details management. This is just where you'll be able to update individuals' emails or phone numbers if they haven't put them in. You won't be able to update the date of births. We'll lock that one off because that's got to be a either member federation or above task, but you're able to go through there and update that as you go. You can also again search by role, just to make it a little bit easier to kind of filter and go through. So I'll skip a couple there. You'll be able to just go through the rest of that as you go. But this custom person field management is quite key. So this is your, in the old system would be additional questions. So this is what you want to start to capture from people, those kind of key questions that you want to be asking people. So quite simply, add new, and then start to build the exact type of question you'd like to ask. So you've got the name there, description, then also how you actually want to ask the question. So if it's a checkbox, if you just want a massive field of them to write in whatever they'd like. If you just need a number, maybe it could be sizing, checkbox. You can start to build that out quite easily. Then you can see which roles you'd actually like to ask it to as well, and also whereabouts it actually sits in the order of people as well. So you can start to build out your custom fields. You can turn them on and off as well with that active button. If you only want to ask something for people who maybe get in early and register, and then you want to turn it off without having to delete it, you can just click the active on and off button as well. So it's much simpler than the old additional questions. The other functionality we will also build in is making sure that we can kind of go into that kind of next level down and be asking things like to kind of more specific age groups. So it might just be your 4 to 7s. Would you like to play in a team with someone? Please fill in their name, or things like that. We want to make sure we're building up this functionality as we go along. Skip a couple more down there, you'll be able to look in these as well, but this is just basically filtering by people. And I'm going to go down to the communications part. So again, my club had an okay to average communications tool inside the system. We think this one's a little bit better. You'll be able to start filtering based on the custom person lists you create. So if you create lists of people aged 4 to 11, or just females, or whichever you'd like to do, you can then pick the filters as you go. So we won't filter in there, but you'll be able to do that there. But also, if you just want to talk to all your volunteers, say there's a big volunteer day, or just anyone who holds, who's a player at the club, you're able to pick that role as well, and any sub roles in there. This will be the recipient list. Again, you've got your kind of more marketing options in there as well. And obviously we've got quite a number in there as we go along. Yours will obviously be a little bit more refined. So you can CC people in there. Maybe if you want to CC the treasurer or the president, you can choose from email and then start building your email as you go. You can also attach a file to it. So you can send, if you do like a memo or maybe a club ID or anything like that, you can actually do that through the system as well. I won't go through SMS messages. You're able to do that there. Similar to if you've used Sports TG, you can buy credit inside the system and then start to basically do similar functions to emailing, but through the SMS tool there, and you can build out kind of SMS plays within just that team. If you need to send wet weather reports or anything like that, you'll be able to do it there as well. So that's the people section. Any questions around that one?
With the email input, is that just straight plain text or HTML?
Yeah, in the first instance it is just straight text. And again, it's something we want to make sure we're building on and giving kind of more functionality to that as well. Again, so you can start to kind of add pictures and make it a little bit more interesting than just block text.
Can you export the lists?
Yeah, so inside the reporting section, the reporting system's not plugged into the training environment, but in the reporting part, you're able to export any number of things that you need to do. They can all go to what they could previously, so CSV, Excel.
When I deal with this data, in case you don't, is there a way that you create communication that you can have the option to communicate to two things rather than one third?
Yes, so that's because there's the two linked fields. I'll just have to check for you, because if you've got the linking, basically the question is, if you've got two parents linked to one children, can you send it to both? I'll have to check how that actually works. I'm not sure, but I believe if two people are linked to one child, they will both get the contact basically, because that's the login. But I'll check that for you. Good question. Let me just write that one down to follow up on. Okay, so now getting into the actual creation of products. So as you can see here, here's your kind of key registration dashboard. Some quick links again, your registrations, your deregistrations, and any of those other kind of quick links. So those financial reports. You'll be able to see here kind of a running total of how many registration fees you've captured, any kind of manual adjustments you've made or things that have come in. So the idea of that manual adjustment is someone might have paid you $100 of their 300 and they're going to get you the next 200 later. You don't want to say they're active and paid up and ready to play, so you can actually just go in and make a manual adjustment against that person and say they've paid $100, and when they pay the rest of their fees, then you can actually register them fully. Again, you weren't actually able to do that inside my football club, so something else you're able to do here. And again, some more of the other kind of financial reporting that you'll need there. A lot of that stuff is just kind of quick data capture for you, and then once you get more in detail into the financial status reports, you'll be able to see more details. You'll also have access to IPSI as you've had previously, which will have that kind of full reporting functionality. I mentioned it at the roadshow, we have IPSI for 1 more year. IPSI is the payment gateway provider. What we've essentially in a position is we have them for just this registration period. We then come back in and ask clubs exactly what they want in a payment system. So currently we've only got credit card. We want to get to a stage where we're asking you guys, do you need things like scheduled payments so someone can actually spread the cost of their registration over 4 payments, particularly because people are registering right after Christmas. They might be registering 3 or 4 different people as well. It's a lot of money to stump up. So we're looking at providers who can do that, but also we want to take the liability off you guys. We don't want clubs having to sit there with massive amounts of money owed to them. So we've looked at a couple of different products. One's called OxyPay, and they essentially take the liability off you. So as someone actually goes through and they registers to a product, they can choose the OxyPay thing. They essentially then take out a registration with OxyPay. You guys will get your money within 48 hours. And they're essentially chased up if they default on any payments by this other company. It has nothing to do with you guys. So those are the kind of things we want to get to. So we're taking the liability off you guys, but still being able to provide that kind of scheduled payments for people as well. So we've got IPSI for next year, so it'll be the same process as last year with credit card payments. These are things we want to look at for kind of that 2020 season to start to overall value. Other things that we've looked at, obviously, PayPal and maybe ways that you can integrate your EFT a little bit easier as well. So again, just to repeat, IPSI for next year, exact same process as it has been for last year. We're going to come back to you guys and ask you for feedback on what you guys actually want in payment systems, and then build towards that for the next season.
So is OxyPay like afterpay? So
Yes.
the club gets paid up front, and obviously there's fees on top of that. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's actually quite similar to a transaction fee in cost-wise. But again, our interest is getting the liability off you guys, and if it's able to spread people's payments out, particularly after that kind of Christmas, January, back to school period, and then that's the kind of thing we're going to look at. So again, that's not for the next season. It's something that we want to look towards building towards for kind of later next year, early 2020.
How does that affect youth sport payments?
Yep.